This wedding was an assignment for my Religion 2 class in Catholic school.
This one's wife. The Sadim effect. Her unpopularity is everywhere. Popularity is very important for this one's wife. It is important to her for 3 reasons. By being popular, that demonstrates that people are under control. Remember, she has that subconscious need for people that she is aware of and interacts with to be under control. Popularity equates to fuel. Applause, cheering, huzzah, all of that is positive fuel which she would drink up. Thirdly, it aids with the facade. She maintains a facade of being a decent person, and therefore, as a kind and empathic individual, it would follow that she should be popular. After all, why wouldn't you like her when she's talented, beautiful, magnetic, kind, delicious to be around? All of those things are the deluded view that this one's wife has of herself. Naturally, there are those that support her. Those that do tend to be because they're paid, or that they are part of her staff, or that they have their own agenda. But those individuals that give the impression that they like her maintain the delusion. She also, through this delusion, believes that many more people like her, although the evidence is to the contrary. She is unable to ignore those that dislike her. However, her narcissism deals with those individuals and the threat to control that they pose by simply allocating them to the categorization of racist haters. Nevertheless, this one's wife craves popularity. Her narcissism strives for it in order to gain that popularity to deal with those 3 matters I mentioned earlier. Unfortunately for this one's wife, not only is there plenty of evidence that supports she isn't popular by virtue of press headlines, commentary on social media, and what people write below the line, but this is added to by the thinness of crowds that turn up to see her. The fact that the number of supporters/followers in relation to American Riviera Orchard are way lower than they ought to be for somebody who has the level of exposure that she has. Furthermore, only recently there was a poll which placed her as the 2nd most disliked individual, just behind Amber Heard. And it gets even worse for this one's wife. One thing that often delights the narcissist is for other people to copy the narcissist. After all, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and whilst it's the case that narcissists imitate others, narcissists invariably want others to follow, do what the narcissist does, mirror them, as an indicator of being under control and providing them with positive fuel. One way this occurs is in relation to the naming of your children. There are periods of time when people decide that when they're selecting a name for their child, they opt to use the name of a celebrity that is popular at the moment. Often that celebrity or famous person's name isn't necessarily one which is particularly common. An excellent example of that was when Kylie Minogue was very popular in the United Kingdom as a consequence of being in Neighbours and then her pop career, which resulted in a name which ordinarily was not common at all in the United Kingdom, but of course was fairly common in Australia, being adopted, and a legion of little Kylies sprung into the world as a consequence of their parents deciding that that was a good name to give their child. You have regional variations of it. When Kevin Keegan was manager of Newcastle United in the 90s, there were a number of Keegans that were to be found in Geordieland. Similarly with Kenny Dalglish of Liverpool, there were Dalglishes. And there have been variations of the same. I should imagine there are plenty of Taylors that have originated as a consequence of the global popularity of Taylor Swift. Accordingly, you will find from time to time that there is a particular famous person or celebrity name that's perhaps a little bit unusual, not amongst the more common names that are given to children, and it enjoys popularity as a consequence of the popularity of that particular person. However, for this one's wife, we have further evidence of her unpopularity being simply everywhere. For, as the Telegraph reports through Gabriella Swirling, Harry has fallen out of the top 10 baby names for the first time in nearly 20 years, new data shows. The Office for National Statistics has released its latest baby name data, revealing the most popular and unpopular names in the United Kingdom. Among those to have fallen out of favour include Harry, Henry, Meghan, and Archie. Oh dear, oh dear. Not only is this one's wife name not popular amongst people as a choice, that of her husband and her firstborn are not popular either. The top 10 most popular names in England and Wales for girls are Olivia, Amelia, Isla, Ava, Lily, Ivy, Freya, Florence, Isabella, and Mia. For boys, it's Noah, Mohammed, George, Oliver, Leo, Arthur, Oscar, Theodore, Theo, and Freddie. Harry is one of a handful of names which has been in the top 100 consistently since 1904. However, it has declined by 46.7% since 2018. Boys named Archie declined from 3,990 to 2,403 between 2021 and 2022. And despite an initial boost in popularity in the name Meghan following the engagement of Prince Harry to this one's wife, it now marks the second biggest decline in names for baby girls, down 83%. In 2018, following their engagement, the number of women named Meghan more than doubled. But now it's dropped by 83%. And that just demonstrates how her unpopularity is everywhere, that people aren't going to choose that name, which actually is a lovely Welsh name, but they're not going to choose it because of the association with her. I know from those who've spoken about how they chose their child's name that it's important to avoid an association with certain names. For instance, there might be an ex that you didn't like, and therefore you're not going to name your child after that particular ex. Might be a family member who is generally troublesome and you don't want to name your child after them. In some instances, this is a consequence of the fact that the name already exists, or there's a particular image associated with the name. But when it comes to this one's wife, it's demonstrative of the fact that her popularity has plummeted and that her unpopularity is everywhere, that people, certainly in the United Kingdom, don't want to name their children Meghan because of her. This not only demonstrates the plummeting popularity of this one's wife, but it is problematic for her because she believes that she ought to be popular, and news such as this, of course, threatens her control. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.